We had a perfect, perfect New York VWAP bounce. That's why it's one of my favorite levels to trade off of on the right side of trend, especially when there's a lot of momentum and even when there's not. You always want to try to get your price as close to New York VWAP as possible. So let's take a look at the two trades today. One's not bad, but I did kind of sway from my rules a little bit. So let's go over this strong bullish pop here at the open. Buyers definitely in control. Okay, cool. We're long in it today, but where do I want to long it? You'll never see me just chasing this drift higher because on a normal day, whatever that means, it's not going to just rip face without any sort of pullback. So rather than try to get in and hope it wants to keep on going before pulling back, let's just let it pull back. And then we'll get in before the next move, which we thought would be here. So waiting for a pullback to come in, buyers take a little bit of a break, slow down a little bit, create some structure like a higher low, like we did back here off of New York. And then we're going to anchor a high of day VWAP and wait for buyers to step back in, saying the pullback is probably finished. Buyers are ready to step back in and carry us back higher. All right, cool. So the entry is there. Structure should never be at current structure, or stop loss should never be at current structure. Right there, it should go to the previous one to the left. Where would that be? Maybe back here, way down there, no chance. So you look at it as, well, I'm also trying to just play this momentum. I think it's pretty overextended. I don't necessarily want it to pull back, but who would? That there's really no structure to the left to go with, that any stop loss you go with from here to even there, your stop loss is at the New York. You wouldn't want to be out of this if we're still at the New York VWAP, and something just about a stop loss way down here below New York of like 60 points, with my entry way up here away from New York, just doesn't seem right. That now my target is huge up there, not that it can't get it, that I kind of just said, you know, I hope this doesn't pull back anymore. Let's just go make a new high from here. And it cost me because I get just stopped out, which is what happens often with these stop losses at current structure. So let's get rid of that trade. And what do I have to do? Buy it right back, because now it held New York VWAP off this clean bounce, another break of high day VWAP, saying the pullback is finished because now we're off of New York and breaking the high day VWAP. What's this first one? No pullback to New York, but yes, a break of high day VWAP. So one of two things checked off, where this one has both of them checked off. Okay, so it's probably an even better trade. That, yeah, I'm more likely to believe that the pullback is finished because we've respected the VWAP we normally return to. So you could trade this break play. I break down the break play and all these bounce plays on VWAP. On ASPEX TV, you guys can get access to my full strategy, Futures 2.0. You get full access for first month free if you just use code FIRST. The link's down below. You'll find all the entries and all of everything in there. So check that out down below, and I'll see you on stream tomorrow. But this is my break play, waiting for buyers to fully step back in. Just because I lost on a long here, I don't want to jump in maybe too prematurely on a long and take another loss very quickly. So I'm just waiting for buyers to fully show their hand, saying, yeah, they're back in, and we get this thing for a new high day. So I make the money back, but it could have or should have just been a winner, right? So I can either try to avoid this setup, be a little bit more picky for that full retest, or if I am going to take it, give it the proper stop below structure, no matter how ugly it may look or how far it may be. Would you rather be out of the trade and wish you were in, or in the trade and wishing you were out? Well, I wish I was in the trade, but getting out in profit. But now let's also take a look at ES. But before we do that, I guess this is the break play. The bounce play, very simply, would be playing the bounce off of New York VWAP rather than waiting for that break of high day VWAP in purple you see here, saying I don't need the full confirmation that buyers are in because I have strong conviction in the trend. We're right off the key level. By doing this, you get a lower price. So maybe you give that stop a little bit more space, but the risk reward is still very good because you have such a low price. Rather than risking 37 and going down there, you put a stop loss, or you enter on the break with a 37-point stop. It's the same risk reward, but you're going to get those 37 points a lot quicker because you got that nice lower price. So that's on NQ. Let's take a look at ES. If you take that same premise that I took on the first trade, rip higher at the open, small pullback, break of high day VWAP, stop loss would have held. That's a kick in the face. Whether it was at current structure or not, it keeps on building higher lows, never comes back to New York, and I would have just won. So we'll blame the asset today, right? Let's just deflect and blame the asset. That if I took it on ES, the same idea, small pullback, not off of New York, you would have made money. So it's an unfortunate loss. It's not a bad trade, right? It's one of those things where, yeah, I'm not wrong. I was just earlier, I had a bad stop. Let me give this idea another try, buy it again off the same level, and you make the money back, right? The worst case would be if you just lose and don't get back in and you just red for no reason, right? So if you take it on ES, you're either taking this break play here, or you let it make a new high from that trade. Maybe you're not out of it. Pulls back again, another higher low from this previous one back here, right? So we're still forming bullish structure underneath. That's great. And another break of the new high day VWAP. Ride that thing higher. Clean, easy, in the trend, volatility, easy money, right? So those are the trending trades today. Those are the ones that we were taking on stream after we saw this pop and drift higher. Let's even take a look at the setups at the open. I might have a markup of it. I know I do. But let's take a look at if I have a good markup. So I do. So if you look at the left side here, that's the 15-minute. Seeing where we're set up at, you can see why we definitely like the longs, because it's kind of choppy open on ES. That we're holding this overnight VWAP, pre-market, all pre-market at like this 67, 68 level. Sellers can't get us and close us below there, so that's nice support. And then through the open, they didn't crack us lower either. We're still holding that level. And of course, I'm just leaning long bias because we just keep on making all-time highs. I'm going to need a lot of evidence to try to sell it, because why would I believe we're going lower when we just keep going higher? So when you see, also I'll preach it in Futures 2.0, but I'll give you a little preview here. I never chase the first break of opening range high. And you can see it here. You get induced into that long there, you probably survive, but just not a great time to try to be buying it, because it often doesn't run from that first break. Of course, we'll see it do it a few times. You'll come in my comments saying, oh, it does. I'm going to start trading it. So good luck with that. But it pulls back to New York. Buyers defend it. Maybe this is the higher low we're working off of. Let's go get the second break of opening range high. That's probably the first trade idea of the day that you could take in line with this 15-minute VWAP, right? You're above that. You're above the New York. Structure is moving higher. Stocks are moving higher. Okay, cool. Easy long, right? So that was the first opportunity. But if you miss that, that's what leads into these longs we were taking later up higher here, because we're not going to get involved in just chasing this drift up here, hoping it keeps moving higher, right? This is just way too high. Let it pull back. We're going to end up buying it at a higher price. So I'm not saying it's too high that it's not going to pay today. It's just too high to buy it. Don't know where a pullback would want to come in, where the stop loss should be on that, right? So yes, I'm buying it higher later on, but with structure that makes the stop loss make sense, and it's less likely that I get stuck in a pullback and I lose, right? So don't ever think that I'm saying the price is too high, that it's not going to go higher today. It's just a matter of, does it go higher now or in a little bit, right? So keep that in mind as well. But you can also see the previous day's New York VWAP is there as a nice support. So the longs were easy today. Whether you caught them inside the range and you caught the pop, if you missed those, hopefully this video also helps with, there should be no FOMO. No need to jump in up top there when there's another long opportunity in there. Maybe a small little scalp, another long in there. And I think even if you zoom it out, there was more opportunities later on of trading these higher lows. I know there were on NQ. Yeah, NQ just ripped face all day. So these are the trades we took back here. Let's anchor it to the new high. Let it pull back, wait for buyers to step in here. It keeps on making higher lows. So this would be another good example. It holds, but let's just go over stop loss placement real quick. So again, it's a break of high day VWAP. You'll probably find that in like chapter 8 and 9, I believe. Chapter 8 and 9. The break play versus the bounce play. So the break of high day VWAP, stop loss at current structure here, 20 points. Or we can go to previous structure back here of 25. I'll sacrifice those 5 points any day to allow it to keep building these higher lows, right? You can also even just notice, I also like to say, if I have the 20-point stop here, sometimes it looks a little bit different. It's not even just a matter of giving it more room to breathe. Obviously, that's a point of it. But also, if, let's just pretend my stop loss was way down there for whatever reason. This small amount of drawdown is not going to really scare me because it's nowhere near my stop. It's nowhere near that big P&L loss that I was willing to take, that I'm not going to be as stressed because we're nowhere near my full loss. That if I risked 1,000, I'm maybe down 150. We're fine. But if I risked 1,000 to this stop loss, I was probably down 600 at one point. You're probably going to freak out, maybe manage it early, maybe pull it, who the hell knows, right? So giving it that wider stop also allows you to be less stressful because you're not as close to that stop loss yet. Now, this one makes a nice new higher low. This is the break play that works, but the price is what pays. And another new high a day. Does it work again? Another new high, let it pull back, buyer step in, new high a day. I mean, this thing was just printing money longs on the pullbacks if you could wait for the pullbacks, right? How do you know not to anchor high a day VWAPs to like these little pullbacks and buy it here? I'm not saying you don't know, but they're just not the deep, sustained pullbacks that I like. Of course, there could be money in them sometimes, but there's a lot of those little pullbacks. There's not a lot of these deeper 30, 40-minute ones like this one here, and this one back here, right? So there's 3 beautiful pullbacks compared to 15 small ones, right? Let's just make it up. 7 of the small ones won, 7 of them lost. That's pretty tough. But the big ones, right, however you quantify that, they're less likely to lose because you're getting that full pullback, hopefully closer to structure, seeing more of the idea through, that I'm going to become more picky. I only had to decide 3 times today if I was going to long it on that pullback, this one, or this one, rather than to decide 15 times because I'm thinking about every little pullback. Is it an entry to get in? So that's just not enough criteria. You're going to be taking trades every 5 minutes or so. So let's just get some, not rules behind it, but quantified of, yeah, not the best pullback. I like to see a little bit more of a break of buyers and then see them step back in, right? Because, I mean, you look at these small pullbacks here, you trade this one, you're getting smoked, right? These small ones here, you're going to get smoked. It's just, they're too small, all right? The bigger, the better. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. Make sure you guys check out the stream as well as the top 1 sale right now. It's 45% off. But code Evan's always going to match the best deal that they're running. So make sure you check that out. Copy trade along with us on stream. Check out the strategy. I'll see you guys on the charts tomorrow morning.